Good morning everyone. Myself Shailaja NS, Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Government Engineering College, Musle Vasalli. I am discussing the fourth module, last session, that is the fifth session. We already discussed in the previous classes the software testing. We have come across all the different cases of testing to check whether the product is working properly or not. Now we'll discuss the next topic is in software change. Software change. Why your software has to be changed? Because the change is inevitable in everywhere. Why? Because whenever the new requirements relevant to the emerge when the software is used, then the business environment changes. As soon as the environment of the business changes, you have to upgrade to the new system. It has to change, and error must be repaired. Whenever if you executed any sort of error while testing, you have to checking the bugs and correct the errors, and those error must be repaired. Then the new evolution of the new generation of the new computers and equipment is added to the system. That's why we have to change the software. That is inevitable. Then the next reason, the performance, depending upon the performance and as well as the reliability of the system, may have to be improved in all the sort of the test cases. Then finally we have the key problem for all organization is implementing and managing a change to the existing software system. Everywhere we can change the software system. Then importance of evaluation. Next is an importance. What is the importance in the evaluation of a new software? Organization with a huge investment of the software, they have a critical business assets. During that case, the values of these assets to the business must be changed and updated each and every day. Like the new softwares and the new versions of the software and the new evaluation has to be added for the existing software. Try to incorporate those changes, and for that we need to have a change to the new software. The majority of the software budget in a large companies is devoted changing and involving the existing software rather than the developing a new software. For the majority of the companies, they want to keep the software, made the modification to the existing software instead of developing a new software. For this, we have come discussing the spiral model of the development and the evaluation, how it can be specified in the spiral model. In the spiral model, as you have, it has to be start with the specification, then it has to move for the model, then later on we have to be, the model has to be, after designing the model, it has to be tested, and finally it has to be enhanced. Here in the spiral model, we have to start with the specification, then we have go execute the set of operation has to be executed. After executing the operation, it has to be validated. We need to check whether it's working, the software is working properly or not. Then if the software is working properly, then the respective software is to be implemented with the report. Then after implementing the report, finally we have to release the set of the software. Next is how the evaluation and service can be done. As soon as in the every of software engineering, in the waterfall model, as we after the requirement it has to be developed, and after testing it has to be enhanced. In the same way, in the software has to be, after developing the software, then the software evaluation, the software has to be changed and upgraded. After that, we have to make the software to be servicing, and after servicing, software has to, if it is reused, then the same software, if it is not useful for the further, then it has, the respective software has to be made a retirement. Then next, how the different stages has come across this. In the evaluation is the life cycle, where it is in operation and is evolving a new requirement. As soon as the new requirement according to the user, with the specification, they have made any changes that are proposed and implemented in the system. After the system has been get the requirement from the user or the clients. They have to get the requirements, and whenever if you have any new requirement has changes has come across, that changes has to be proposed and implemented in the system. Next is in servicing. At this stage of the software, it has to be used, but only changes are made to the required. If only changes has to be made for the requirement in a operational, but that is in you're supposed to fix the errors, and changes has to be reflect on the software environment. Any changes has to be reflect on the software environment, and no new functionality is added. Once it has been identified, then no new functionality has been added. Phase out in the sense that is a software may still used, further you cannot made any changes or made, that is known as a phase out. How the evaluation process can takes place. Then in the evaluation process takes place, we have the software evaluation process. It depends on mainly the type of software that is being maintained, which category of software that is being maintained for the existing system. Then how to develop the new process has to be used. The respective skills and experience of the people they involved in the development of a software. Next is in the proposal for a change or the driver for the software for the system evaluation. You should be we have the software it has to be linked with the one module with another module, or one method with another method, or one interface with the another interface. Should be linked with the components or the objects that are affected by the change. If you are linked with one component with another component, it needs a change. It's affected by the changes as normally. It allows the cost and the impact of the change to be estimated. We need to estimate the cost, what are the new changes has to be estimated. Then what type of identification and evaluation that continues throughout the system lifetime. It has to be represented in the process of a life cycle. Then you have to take any new system. Then after taking the new system, it has to put into you need any changes in the identification of a process. After the identification of process, it needs any changes. Then we need to propose for the changes. Then for that we need a change proposals. After changing the proposal, then the software evaluation process. It has to evolve for the new system. It has to processed. Then as soon as if it is complete, then again it is moves in the new system. It form a cycle. It has to be repeated just in a identification in the evaluation process. As soon as the new system exists, its any changes has to be identified, and that changes has to be proposed. After proposing that, we have to make the evaluation of the software process. Then in the software evaluation process, we have that's what you can made any changes, that has changes has to be made in terms of a request. After making the request, we have any changes has to be made impact induce on the analysis. After inducing the analysis, we should have release a certain set of planning with some set of new plans has to be executed. Then for that new plans, we have to change to the implementation. Once you want to implement the system, we have to change for a implementation while releasing the new plans. Then after implementing the new changes, then finally the system has to be released. In the release planning, it has split into, we have three different types. One is a fault repair, second one is a platform adaptation, and third one is a system enhancement. In the fault repair, if it is initially you can identify with any of the problems has been incurred, that has to be repaired. Then in the platform adaptation, we have already planned for one set of platform. Then how to adapt for the existing system to the new any problems to existing platform. Then along with that, we have to enhance the system for the new adaptation. This is what the software evaluation process can takes place. Then after evaluation the software, then which are all the different changes has to be made for implementation. In the implementation part, it can be given with a set of proposed changes. We need, as we already have made the changes from the proposed changes it's from the user requirement. We need to make any changes, we have to propose certain set of changes. Afterwards, it has been checking with the new problems is the requirements. In the requirement analysis, we collect the data for the requirement analysis. If you have any still it's not able to perform, not able to identify properly, then again it has moved to the proposed changes. Once it is updated, what are all the changes we need to identify, then we need to process, then only we have move for the updating that. If it is once it is made exactly, then we have to go for the respective the requirements updating the existing for the existing software. After the updating the existing software, the software has to be developed. Finally, the product is built with the different platforms you are used, and then finally it's come with the new product. For this, we have, it takes place in sequence. It's in form of the iteration. It has to be executed one after the another. Iteration of the development process, where the revision to the system are designed. Everywhere after the requirement, the product has to be designed. Then afterwards, it has to be implemented in the platforms which we have specified. Afterwards, after the implementation, we need to conduct the different test cases. It has to come across with all the different, which are all already discussed from the last few classes. Those test cases has to be discussed. Okay, then that test cases, it has to pass all the test cases, then becomes the product becomes yes, it's working properly. Then we have to go for a implementation, that we have to go for enhancing the existing software. Then the critical difference, what is the changes has to be made. The critical difference in the first stage of implementation may involve the program has to understand. Any programmer first has to understand the program properly. Especially in the original system, the developers are not responsible for change in implementation. Only in the beginning, whenever it has to be identified the specification, then only we can identify, but the developer are not responsible for the change in any implementation. During the understanding phase, we have to understand how the program is structured, how it is delivers the functionality, and how the proposed changes might affect the program. Which are all the changes has to be that can affect the program. It should identify which are all the changes has to be made that will affect the program. Then which are all the urgently change the request. Some of the changes as incurred that changes are known as a urgent change request. Urgent changes have to be implemented without going through all stages of a software engineering process. Because it's a very urgent process, we need not come across from the beginning, from the analysis to we have the design, right? Then in between, we are not supposed to come across from the beginning. Just urgent changes we can make during the process to be implemented. If a serious system fault has to be repaired, that allow to a normal operation, it allows normal operation to continue the product has to be designed. If the changes to the system environment, that is we have to upgrade the OS. We want to upgrade the existing OS, then that are all some unexpected effects that cause the system environment may change. If there are changes in the business that are require a very rapid response, that means a release of a competing product. Which are all the emergency process? In the emergency process, we have to go change request. Yes, we have the emergency changes has to be made with the yes emergency change made the request. Then after made the change request, then analyze the source code. Which are all the changes has to be made. Yes, this is the changes I want to made from the particular step. Then I can modify the existing source code. Then after modification, if it is working properly, then deliver the modified system and produce the new product. This is how the system has to be repaired and tested and executed, come across with the new software product. And that's for all. In the last session, in the complete session, we have to discuss different types of the test cases and as well as how the software has evolved and emergence for the any urgent changes has to be repaired, come across with the modified system, that is a product of the modified software product. Thank you.